CQS bet, but also bet 3 million. Lu Ming smiled disdainfully. Betting so much, he really thought they could win. They didn't see who the opponent was. Lu Ming bet all his money on himself to win, adding up to 1.2 million. Qin Sheng agreed to the challenge. The most handsome in the universe. Let's change the game and move the battle to reality. QS, okay. The most handsome in the universe. You decide the battlefield. Qin Sheng thought about it and entered the name of a company, Longfei Group. Longfei Group was HD Group's hostile company. It used despicable means towards the HD Group, and the HD Group was what Fu Hanchuan founded. The most handsome in the universe. Okay, let's get started and get this over with. The competition began. Qin Sheng quickly typed on the keyboard. Lines of code appeared on the computer and began to attack Longfei Group. Lu Ming also focused his attention and looked for loopholes in the system's protection. He did not dare to underestimate QS too much. Longfei Group had spent a lot of effort on the system's protection. It was not easy to invade. There were a total of 5 lines of defense. Each line of defense had a monitoring function. If one was not careful, they would be discovered. If the attack was too long, they would also be noticed. Even Qin Sheng took 2 minutes to break through the first line of defense. The further they went, the harder it was. 10 minutes later, Qin Sheng had already started to attack the 4th line of defense. Lu Ming was still stuck at the 2nd line of defense. Sweat broke out on his forehead. He took some time to look at Qin Sheng's position and then looked away. However, he was getting faster and faster. The onlookers outside were anxiously waiting for the result. They could not see the progress of the real-life attack. They could only wait for the appearance of both sides in the competition to know the result. Who do you think will win? It must be handsome. The most handsome in the universe has been ranked 8th on the list for so long. Do you think he is a vegetarian? Don't be too confident. You guys haven't learned your lesson. Have you been slapped in the face by QS? That son of a B*TCH hid behind the screen and watched you guys discuss and then slapped you in the face. I want to ask you, does your face still hurt? Anyway, it does hurt me a lot. The hackers. Their bodies froze. Their hands that was typing on the keyboard also froze. They silently deleted the words that they had typed out one by one. It was as if the most handsome in the universe had come out to fight against QS and his solemn words had made them lose their minds again. Perhaps the most handsome in the universe would lose. After all, the record that he had set was defeated by QS. This time, no one dared to say anything. They could only quietly wait for the result. On the other side, Qin Sheng was just 1 step away from breaking through the 5th line of defense. She looked at the position of the most handsome in the universe that had just escaped from the 3rd line of defense. Qin Sheng's lips curved slightly. She waited on the spot for a while. Lu Ming seemed to be getting more and more flustered. He had lost his composure. His mind was now filled with the bet of 1.2 million that he had bet. If he lost, the money that he had saved for 3 years would be gone. That was his life. He was prepared to use it to build a top-notch computer. If he lost, his plan would be ruined. Sweat covered Lu Ming's forehead and nose. He frowned, his eyes only focused on the code on the screen. On the other side, Qin Sheng pressed the enter key. All 5 lines of defense were broken through. Qin Sheng entered the internal system of the Longfei Group and leisurely walked around. When she came out, Qin Sheng looked at the position of the most handsome in the universe and raised her eyebrows. Fingertips gently clicked the mouse, deliberately touching the other side of the alarm. As Lu Ming was still at the 4th line of defense, he heard the alarm. F***CK. Lu Ming cursed and increased the speed of his hands. This QS was too mean. Lu Ming was in front, so he was the first to go out. Seeing the most handsome in the universe come out, the hackers all heaved a sigh of relief. It turned out that QS was not as powerful as they thought. Tick-tock, the most handsome in the universe, he is indeed handsome. Zhu. Handsome man is indeed invincible. King. Handsome, is QS still lingering on the 1st line of defense? Lu Ming was now lying on the chair dejectedly. He did not want to look at the computer anymore. 5 minutes later, Qinsheng exited the Longfei Group's system. When she was retreating, she had even kindly destroyed the 5 lines of defense. It was estimated that the defense system could not be used anymore. To rebuild the defense system, it would require a large amount of money and a lot of time. The internal information of the group was crucial. It could not be stolen by outsiders. If the core information was stolen, it would be a fatal blow to the company. When Qinsheng triggered the alarm, the technical staff of the Longfei Group discovered it. They immediately began to track Qinsheng. Unfortunately, their computer technology was much worse than Qinsheng's, so they couldn't find any traces of Qinsheng at all. After destroying all the defense lines, Qinsheng arrogantly left a sentence. "Your defense is too rubbish. I'll help you check next time." The technical staff. They didn't need it, thank you. The technical staff could only watch as an arrogant hacker logo escaped from under his eyes. Without hesitation, he reported this matter to the department head. "What? Aren't you a high-tech talent who came back from studying abroad? Even you can't stop it?" The department head realized the seriousness of the matter and called the chairman overnight. The chairman flew into a rage. "Find him. Find this person immediately." He had never been provoked so arrogantly before. Who wouldn't want to please him? He thought of something and became nervous again. Did he take away the company's information? I'm not sure, but he destroyed our defense line and left a message saying that he would come back next time. Take care of it right now. I invited you here and gave you your salary. Are you taking money for nothing? The chairman of the Longfei Group blamed the technology department. The system had been hacked. It was their fault for not doing their job well. Yes. The technical department director could only agree. However, he was not convinced. Those who knew about computers understood that there were many experts in the world. How could they compare to these people? No matter how good the system was, there would always be a loophole. It was very difficult to ensure that everything was safe. It was not that they did not want to poach those hacker geniuses, but they were very arrogant and refused. After he returned, he began to maintain and rebuild the defense system overnight. However, this was not something that could be solved in a short period of time. At the same time, they were still worried about when this hacker would come. As for QS, they were destined to not be able to find her. Qinsheng was very cautious and did not leave any traces behind. QS appeared at Black Emperor. Those who could not stand QS jumped out to mock her. When everyone congratulated the most handsome in the universe for winning, he did not refute them, so everyone thought that QS had lost. Trash. QS, I thought you were invincible. I didn't expect you to lose too. Duck. Ha ha ha, how does it feel to lose? Let you be arrogant. Hacker Qin, this tells us that we should not be too arrogant. Otherwise, one day, we won't even know how we died. Qinsheng's eyes narrowed as she watched them jump up and down. She slowly typed, "Who told you that I lost?" The hackers were stunned for a moment. Wasn't it? It was the most handsome in the universe who told them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come out to mock QS. A hacker slapped his head fiercely. It seems that the most handsome in the universe hasn't spoken since he came out. QS losing is all a guess. In real-life competitions, those who returned to Black Emperor first usually won. Those who lost would be a little late because they still had to attack the system. However, Qinsheng was different. She triggered the alarm, so the most handsome in the universe could only leave. Hearing this, the other hackers were also suspicious. The most handsome in the universe was too quiet. It was not compatible with his flamboyant personality. Everyone ran to send private messages to Lu Ming. Lu Ming finally typed a few words on the keyboard and sent it out. I lost. The forum was silent for a few seconds before it was instantly flooded with F*King comments. Lost. The most handsome in the universe, who was ranked 8th on the Black Emperor rankings, had actually lost. All the hackers in the Black Emperor rankings were gathered, and even the Bigshots and rookies would appear on the forum. Even in the world, the position of the number 8 hacker on the Black Emperor rankings was ranked at the top. And this QS had even defeated the number 8. Their strength was so terrifying. The hackers in the forum were completely silent. They no longer had any doubts about QS's strength. Instead, they felt that their arrogance back then was justified. The Bigshots had the right to be arrogant. In the world of hackers, the strong were respected. For the strong, they looked at the problem with a layer of filter. This was not because they were disgusted by QS's behavior, but because they felt that they were domineering. I'm Little Blackie, who was the first to be defeated by Qin Sheng and had his computer hacked, was finally online. He was still sweating profusely. During the period when he went offline, he had been turning on his computer. He only came in after an hour. I'm Little Blackie. Sorry, I went offline temporarily because I had something to do. He did not dare to say that he was hacked by QS during the battle. If they knew about it, it would be enough for them to laugh at him for half a year. I'm Little Blackie thought that there would be a large circle of hackers questioning him, but he found that those people came over to comfort him instead. I'm Little Blackie? What happened? This wasn't the style of their website. He asked his close friend. His close friend only sympathetically reminded him, look at QS's battle results. I'm Little Blackie hurriedly ran over to look at QS's battle results. After looking at his long string, he quieted down. So, he, a rookie, was piking with a big shot, and he still looked down on this big shot? In the end, he was tricked by the big shot, and his screen was hacked? How ignorant was he? How high was the sky? How thick was the ground? Over here, Qin Sheng posted an advertisement on Black Emperor. QS, repair the computer system, remotely diagnose computer problems, build a protective system, and discuss the price privately. The price is definitely worthy of the service I provide. Welcome, QQ. XXXXXX. Don't disturb me if there's nothing else. Everyone from Black Emperor. So, QS caused such a huge ruckus at Black Emperor just to advertise for money? With this thought in mind, someone asked, Boss, are you really short of money? QS replied, Yes, I'm very short. I'm very poor. Everyone from Black Emperor was speechless once again. How could someone with such technology be poor? Someone seemed to have won more than 6 million at Black Emperor. Qin Sheng had won the match just now and received more than double the odds. Including the capital, it was a total of 6 million. How could a person who had earned 6 million in just over an hour be poor? I don't believe you. After Qin Sheng finished her advertisement at Black Emperor, she went to a special forum to post an advertisement. The content was the same as in Black Emperor, except that it specifically stated that she had defeated the number 8, the most handsome in the universe. Some people who did not mind watching the show specially sent a screenshot to Lu Ming. Lu Ming. He was so angry that he was about to explode. This was giving an inch and asking for a mile. He didn't believe that no one could cure this son of a B***tch. Lu Ming angrily called Fu Hanchuan. Brother, your cute little brother has been bullied. Help me teach him a lesson. Fu Hanchuan stood in front of the French window. His eyes narrowed slightly as he asked, what happened? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Was he going to agree? Thus, he added on to what had just happened. Brother, you're ranked first in all Black Emperor. Once you make a move, that son of a B***tch will definitely be beaten down by you. Fu Hanchuan turned on his computer and his gaze fell on QS, which was ranked 8th in all of Black Emperor. In Black Emperor, defeating the hackers in front would give them the ranking. Therefore, she was now ranked 8th in QS, occupying the most handsome in the universe's slot. QS. Fu Hanchuan bit suddenly accelerated. He thought of Qin Sheng. QS was the first letter of Qin Sheng's name. His slender and good-looking hand was placed on the keyboard. His mind was filled with the image of Qin Sheng sitting in front of the computer. She was typing on the keyboard with a wanton smile on her lips. After a long while, he sighed and stopped what he was doing. You solve it yourself, Fu Hanchuan said and put the phone down. Lu Ming's anxious voice came from the other end of the phone. Hello, brother, no, didn't you agree to it? Fu Hanchuan's gaze lingered on the name QS for a long time before he moved his gaze away. He browsed through the posts and replies from QS. She could be described with 2 words. Crazy, arrogant. Fu Hanchuan smiled. His little girl was obedient and sensible. This QS couldn't be her. He was thinking too much. Fu Hanchuan exited the Black Emperor and picked up his phone. His gaze fell on Sheng Sheng on the phone screen. Was she asleep? Just as he was thinking, a message was sent. Sheng Sheng, Brother Fu, are you free tomorrow? Fu Hanchuan thought about the full schedule for tomorrow and could reject all of them. Without any hesitation, he tapped on the screen with his fingertip. Yes, what does Sheng Sheng want me to do? As soon as he finished typing, Fu Hanchuan frowned slightly. He deleted the last sentence and sent a yes. Qin Sheng's message was sent instantly. Brother Fu, can you use your identity to help me get a bank card? Now that all the information about Qin Sheng was in Qin Hai's hands, especially with such a large amount of money, it was impossible for Qin Hai not to know that she would not expose herself before she disowned Qin Hai. Fu Hanchuan saw Qin Sheng's information, and his eyes were full of smiles. To apply for a bank card, did Sheng Sheng trust him that much? Okay. After sending the information over, Fu Hanchuan thought for a while and typed a few words, I'll be free tomorrow. When Qin Sheng saw Fu Hanchuan's information, a warm current flowed through her heart. He had never rejected her. She did not understand why she would distance herself from him because of Qin Shuru in her previous life. Fu Hanchuan's appearance alarmed the entire Black Emperor. One had to know that C, the number one boss in the Black Emperor rankings, had appeared in the Black Emperor rankings countless times. He was even more arrogant than QS. The moment he appeared, he provoked the top 10 hackers. He tortured them so badly that they did not dare to touch their computers for nearly a month. He even King broke Black Emperor's system. He had always maintained his first ranking for 4 years. C's deeds had become a legend. This time, seeing him online, they thought he was going to torture someone again. The Melon Seeds bench was already set up, but in the end, he just came in and walked around? The hackers had been waiting for C to come to Black Emperor day and night. Later, they didn't want to see him anymore. They had already been fed dog food. The next day was Saturday, so there was no need for classes. Qin Sheng tidied up and left the house. Qin Hai was not at home, and Qin Shuru stayed in the room. Only Lin Shuya was sitting in the living room, drinking tea. When she saw Qin Sheng, Lin Shuya did not give her a good look. Where are you going? Qin Sheng only replied with 3 words. Something came up. Lin Shuya didn't say anything else. She was just asking out of courtesy and didn't really care about Qin Sheng. If Qin Sheng was an outstanding person, she would naturally treat her well. However, she couldn't help herself. Taking her out would only make her lose face. Especially that family. She wouldn't let them know that she had this daughter. If they found out, they would only look down on her even more. Lin Shuya had to tell them that her choice was not wrong. When she thought about how her brother had already developed the company overseas and was far more powerful than Qin Hai, Lin Shuya did not feel good. However, fortunately, a master said that her daughter was a blessed, born phoenix. Rower would be able to win her face in the future. Lin Shuya did not care about her, and Qin Sheng did not have to explain to her anymore. She left the house. Outside the door, there was a car parked not far from the Qin family's villa. Fu Hanchuan did not want to attract the attention of the Qin family and cause trouble for Qin Sheng, so he did not park the car at the entrance of the Qin family's villa. At this moment, Fu Hanchuan was sitting in the back seat of the car with a computer on his lap. He had some things that he had to deal with. However, his mind was obviously not on work. He looked out of the window from time to time. The executive who was reporting the solution to Fu Hanchuan was confused. Was the president satisfied or not satisfied? This was the first time he had seen the president lose focus while working. The president was a famous workaholic. Cold sweat dripped down the executive's forehead. Fu Hanchuan suddenly nodded. Follow up on your plan and contact Assistant Lin specifically. This was the first time that Fu Hanchuan did not ask his subordinate to change his plan. After giving his instructions, he turned off his computer and got out of the car. Qin Sheng was wearing a white dress. Her slightly curly long hair hung on her shoulders. Fu Hanchuan was stunned for a moment before the corners of his lips curled up slightly. Fu Hanchuan and Qin Sheng were 5 years apart in age. Fu Hanchuan did not like to smile and was very mature. In the eyes of others, he and Qin Sheng were many years apart. Fu Hanchuan also realized this and specially wore a white casual outfit. The two of them looked like a couple. Brother Fu. Qin Sheng came to Fu Hanchuan and raised her head slightly. Fu Hanchuan was very tall and she needed to raise her head to see him clearly. Brother Fu, are you here early? Fu Hanchuan opened the car door and said elegantly, I just arrived. Oh. Qin Sheng got into the car and Fu Hanchuan sat next to her. Drive, Fu Hanchuan ordered. Then, he turned to look at Qin Sheng. Sheng, do you want to continue staying in the Qin family? Qin Sheng was slightly stunned, and a hint of bitterness flashed across her lips. In her previous life, he had asked her the same question, but she was a fool. She couldn't tell who was sincere and who was fake. She tugged at the corner of her clothes. I'll think of a way to leave the Qin family. Fu Hanchuan frowned slightly. Do you need my help? Qin Sheng rejected him. It's not difficult. I'm dispensable in the Qin family. As long as she touched Qin Hai's interests, he would give up on her as his daughter. Fu Hanchuan's heart skipped a beat. Waves of dull pain came over him. Sheng's situation was really heartbreaking. He rubbed Qin Sheng's hair. Sheng, you still have my grandfather. We'll treat you very well. Okay. A brilliant smile bloomed on Qin Sheng's face. After settling their bank cards, the two of them went to the restaurant to eat. The two of them sat by the wall. Outside was a pedestrian street, and there was only a glass window between them. They could clearly see the scene inside from the outside. When Qin Shuru passed by the restaurant, she caught a glimpse of Qin Sheng's figure. She was slightly stunned. Why would Qin Sheng come here? Why would a country bumpkin come to such a high-end restaurant? Then, her gaze fell on Fu Hanchuan's figure. She only saw a side profile, but it was perfect to the extreme. A tall nose bridge, sexy lips. Qin Shuru's heart raced. She had never seen such a good-looking man. She almost could not control herself as she walked into the restaurant. When she entered the restaurant, she happened to see Fu Hanchuan use his slender and good-looking hands to peel the prawns and place them in Qin Sheng's bowl. Qin Sheng also shamelessly ate them. Qin Shuru gripped her hands tightly, her fingertips turning white. How did Qin Sheng meet such a man? She even asked him to peel the prawns for her. Qin Shuru was also used to acting. Very quickly, she suppressed her jealousy and slowly walked towards Qin Sheng. Sister. Qin Shuru's pretentious voice sounded. Qin Sheng put down his chopsticks and asked expressionlessly, What's the matter? Sister, I wanted to look for you to go shopping together. I didn't expect you to leave so early, Qin Shuru complained. She squeezed herself next to Qin Sheng and sat down, looking like a good sister. This dining table was for 2 people. Qin Sheng was very thin, and her chair could barely fit 2 people. However, it was very crowded. Fu Hanchuan frowned and finally gave Qin Shuru a look. According to the information, Qin Sheng and Qin Shuru were carried by the wrong person when they were in the hospital. Qin Shuru was the child of a rural couple, but she became the daughter of the Qin family and enjoyed the love of the Qin family. Qin Sheng had been abused by that couple in the countryside. Ever since she was 3 years old, she had endless work to do. If it were not for the pressure of compulsory education and the pressure of the village officials, the Feng couple would not have sent Qin Sheng to school. They had not paid a single cent for Qin Sheng's school fees. They knew the Feng couple's character. The village officials collectively donated money to help Qin Sheng pay for her school fees. After Qin Sheng grew a little older, she went to find work on her own. Once she finished junior high school, the Feng family did not allow Qin Sheng to go to school. It was only because Qin Sheng promised to give them a fixed amount of money every month that they continued to let Qin Sheng study. After Qin Sheng was brought back, Qin Shuru still stayed in the Qin family. According to the information, Qin Shuru's talent was extraordinary. She had been recognized by the master of painting, Qi Wenshi, since she was young and became one of his students. In the 3rd year of high school, she was firmly ranked in the top 10 of the entire grade. She was kind and filial. When she saw the stray cats and dogs on the road, she couldn't help but feed them and send them to the veterinarian if they were injured. Fu Hanchuan sneered and looked away. She was just like Zhou Sihue. Qin Shuru noticed Fu Hanchuan's gaze on her. Her face was slightly red. She picked up a glass of juice in front of Qin Sheng and asked casually, Sheng, is this your friend? Qin Sheng's lips curled into a mocking smile. Did Qin Shuru like Fu Hanchuan this time? What does it have to do with you whether he's my friend or not? My relationship with you doesn't seem to be that good. You really don't know your place. Qin Sheng didn't give Qin Churu any face. She disdained to maintain a superficial relationship with Qin Churu. Qin Churu's face was a little stiff, but she quickly recovered. Her eyes were very red, and her voice sounded very wronged. Sister, I know that I've monopolized Mom and Dad for more than 10 years. You have a problem with me, but that's not something I can stop. If you're angry, I can move out. Sister, as long as you're willing to forgive me, I'm willing to do anything. Qin Churu used her usual trick of pretending to be weak. People sympathized with the weak, so she always succeeded in using this method. Many people had been tricked by her. If Qin Sheng did not ease up, it would appear that she was aggressive. Qin Churu had a good plan in her heart. No matter what Qin Sheng did, it would be beneficial to her. On the surface, Qin Sheng was still unwilling to forgive her. She could let this man see Qin Sheng's true colors and stay away from Qin Sheng. If Qin Sheng treated her well, she could take the opportunity to approach him through Qin Sheng. Unfortunately, Qin Sheng and Fu Hanchuan did not play by the rules. Qin Sheng sneered. Just as she was about to speak, Fu Hanchuan's cold voice was heard. Since you are so considerate of Sheng Sheng's feelings, then you should leave the Qin family. Sheng Sheng hates you. Qin Churu's face was completely frozen. She could not believe it. Didn't all men like weak women? Fu Hanchuan raised his hand to look at his watch and then looked at Qin Sheng. Every time he looked at Qin Sheng, his face carried a doting look that he did not realize. Sheng Sheng, it's getting late. I'll send you back. The corners of Qin Sheng's lips curled slightly as she stood up. Qin Churu, you're always acting. Isn't it tiring to live with a mask on? Qin Churu clenched her hands tightly. Because Fu Hanchuan was there, she did not reveal a twisted and ferocious expression. Instead, she still looked weak and gentle. Sister, did you misunderstand me? I've said it before. What doesn't belong to you will never belong to you. Qin Sheng left for a while, but Qin Churu still sat on the spot. Her eyes were full of anger. What right did Qin Sheng have to mock her? As long as she could get what she wanted, she was willing to act for the rest of her life. Wasn't Qin Sheng very real? But even her biological parents hated her. In front of that perfect man, Qin Sheng actually didn't give her face. If it wasn't for Qin Sheng, why would he talk to her like that? That man obviously saw that Qin Sheng didn't like him. In order to take into account Qin Sheng's feelings, he said something embarrassing to her. It must be Qin Sheng. Qin Churu bit her lip. She had to get this man. No one had ever moved her at first sight. His clothes and watches were the most expensive brands in the world, and she was the young miss of the Qin family. If she could match up to him, Qin Sheng was nothing. Qin Churu made up her mind and began to imagine Fu Hanchuan peeling prawns for her and talking to her dotingly. After Qin Sheng returned to the Qin family, she continued to take orders. She had already taken on several big orders, asking her to set up or maintain a protective system. The price was not low. If they were satisfied, they would need to pay 400,000 yuan to set up a protective system. The maintenance system was half the price. Qin Sheng was familiar with computer operations, but it was not easy to set up or maintain a protective system. Even she would need at least 3 hours to do it. Newbie. She had already made one last night, and the customer had already paid. Now, she was dealing with the second big order, which was to maintain the protective system. It only took 3 hours. Qin Sheng came downstairs to have dinner. Qin Churu gave her a provocative look. Qin Sheng looked at the expressions of Qin Hai and Lin Shuya, and the corners of her lips curled up into a mocking smile. It seemed that Qin Churu was up to no good. She pulled out a chair and sat down. Qin Sheng picked up a piece of vegetables. Qin Hai put down his bowl and chopsticks. I heard that you are very intimate with a man? Qin Sheng was good-looking. The reason why Qin Hai was willing to take her back to the Qin family was that he liked her good looks. Finding a family to marry would bring a lot of benefits to the Qin family. Naturally, Qin Sheng's marriage had to be in his hands. Before this, no matter how mediocre Qin Sheng was, it was fine. The only thing that mattered was if she was innocent. He couldn't let her mess around with other men. Qin Sheng answered expressionlessly, a friend of mine. Sister. Qin Churu wanted to say something, but she hesitated. I saw him peel shrimp for you. Ordinary friends wouldn't act so close to each other. Qin Churu hated her. She wanted Qin Sheng to be separated from that man, so she told Qin Hai, which made Qin Hai hate Qin Sheng even more. She was just an adopted daughter after all. In the end, she couldn't compare to her biological daughter who was related by blood. Qin Churu was worried that one day, Qin Hai and Lin Shuya would wake up and hate her. So, she had to brainwash them again and again. Qin Sheng ignored Qin Churu and just ate the food quietly. She didn't care about Qin Hai and Lin Shuya's attitude, and there was no need for her to explain. No matter how she explained, they wouldn't believe her. After saying that, Qin Churu quickly added, "Sister, I don't have any bad intentions. I'm just worried that sister will be deceived by him and get hurt." She looked like she was doing Qin Sheng a favor. Lin Shuya saw that Qin Churu had been wronged and immediately said, "Roar, some people will not appreciate your kindness even if you think of them. Instead, they will hate you. You don't have to suffer yourself. You are my daughter, not a servant." Qin Hai's face also turned black. "Peel shrimp?" He sneered and said seriously, "Qin Sheng, how old are you? You just came to H City and you want to find a man? You are now in your 3rd year of high school. The most important thing is to study." Seeing that Qin Sheng did not listen to him anymore, Qin Hai was so angry that his chest heaved up and down vigorously. As expected, she was not raised by his side. She did not even care about him as her father. He pointed at the door. "If you don't separate from that man, don't step into my Qin family's front door. Our Qin family doesn't have a daughter like you who wants to seduce a man at such a young age." Qin Churu lowered her head and the corners of her lips curled into a proud smile. Qin Sheng slowly put down the bowl and chopsticks. She had already eaten her fill during that period of time. "I can't wait. But Chairman Qin, please transfer my household registration out of your Qin family first and then give me a statement to sever the relationship." "You." Qin Sheng's unruly look really pissed off Qin Hai. Of course, he wouldn't let Qin Sheng leave the Qin family. He just wanted Qin Sheng to give in. He didn't expect Qin Sheng not to play by the rules. Seeing this, Qin Sheng sneered and went upstairs, leaving a family of 3 in the dining room. The atmosphere in the restaurant was so oppressive that it was terrifying. Lin Shuya lost her appetite for the food in front of her. "I'm full." After a pause, she continued, "Ever since she came back, our family hasn't had a peaceful day." She stood up and left, and Qin Churu quickly chased after her to comfort her. Qin Hai also leaned against the chair and sighed. His wife was also gentle and generous. How could she give birth to such a daughter? Although Roar's biological parents were from the countryside, who would not praise her for being gentle and smart. Qin Sheng was not like the Qin family at all. It was really hard for people to like her. On the 2nd floor, Qin Sheng sat in front of her desk and recalled the things that happened in her past life. Because she was secretly helping the Qin family handle the company's affairs, she had obtained a lot of information. Including the lives of many business elites, there were many who had been down and out. Later on, they relied on their own efforts to occupy a position in the business world. She could rope them into work under her. Qin Sheng was a businessman, so she naturally thought of the greatest interests. Of course, after experiencing the events of her previous life, she also blindly used others for her own interests. What was the difference between her and Qin Churu? Qin Sheng wrote down a name, Hong Yuan. Hong Yuan's wife was suffering from cancer and did not have many days left. She needed someone to accompany her at all times. Hong Yuan could not get away, so the company's matters were left to his brother, Du Kaifeng, to handle. He did not expect Du Kaifeng to be so ambitious. He had been jealous of Hong Yuan for a long time. He took this opportunity to bribe the company's higher-ups to falsify the accounts. When Hong Yuan found out, it was after his wife passed away. Unfortunately, the company had long been emptied by Du Kaifeng, and he owed the bank a large amount of debt. Even the company's research results had been swept away. 20 years later, Hong Yuan finally stood up completely and took revenge. However, during this period, Hong Yuan was repeatedly targeted by Du Kaifeng, and he fell quite a bit until he met a noble. Qin Sheng bit her pen. Now was the time when Hong Yuan had just discovered what Du Kaifeng had done. It seemed that she could go and see him tomorrow. Then, Qin Sheng wrote down the names of a few more people. These were all prepared for her to open a game company. In her previous life, she had figured out an all-intelligent game, but she didn't have the time to implement it. Qin Sheng closed the book, turned on the computer, and logged onto Black Emperor. She had her eyes on Hacker C, who could become the #1 existence in Black Emperor, which was filled with computer experts. His strength was naturally not to be underestimated. If she could recruit him into her company, it would be a great help to the company. However, Qinsheng did not have much hope. Hackers were born with arrogance. Hacker C was also the #1 existence in the rankings, so she could not be sure that she could beat Hacker C. Qinsheng operated the computer with familiarity. Her fair fingers flew over the keyboard, wanting to follow past records and hack into Hacker C's computer. In the past, Qinsheng could do it without anyone noticing. She did not expect to be discovered not long after appearing on Fu Hanquan's computer. The protective wall that Fu Hanquan had set up was almost perfect. He could lure hackers into the protective wall, but they could not come out or enter. At the same time, the news of the intruder would be sent to his phone immediately. Fu Hanquan saw the message and narrowed his eyes. He turned on his computer and a warning sign for the intruder popped up. QS? Fu Hanquan leaned against his chair. Qinsheng's figure appeared in his mind instantly, and his eyes softened unconsciously. Even the words he typed had a hint of gentleness. QS, what can I do for you? Qinsheng's hand paused. This was the first time in her 2 lifetimes that someone had discovered her intrusion. She was indeed worthy of his reputation. Immediately after, the corners of her lips curled up with a hint of recklessness. I want to start a company. Are you interested in joining? Fu Hanquan was a little curious about QS. He couldn't help but be curious because of his name and his free and unrestrained manner. He slowly typed, not interested. Okay, sorry to bother you. Qinsheng was operating the computer and was about to leave when she realized that she was trapped. Fu Hanquan's message jumped out of the computer again. You can't get out. Qinsheng narrowed her eyes slightly and her hands moved faster. Lines of code jumped on the screen. Ni. Fu Hanquan brought a cup of tea and leaned lazily on the chair, watching how QS escaped from his protective wall. Qinsheng had been sitting in front of the computer the whole time. Her clear eyes had been staring at the computer, and she was also a little interested in C. It was not much, but there were very few things that attracted Qinsheng's interest. This was the first time she had met someone who could trap her. This was a game between experts. The code on the computer was deleted and deleted again and again. She only stopped after half an hour. There was no progress at all. Qinsheng's brain spun rapidly, for a long time. Her eyes revealed a trace of a smile. Her fair and slender hands once again placed on the keyboard and began to type. Lines of code flashed across Qinsheng's eyes. The protective wall set up by Fu Hanquan could almost not trap QS anymore. Fu Hanquan sat up straight and began to move his hands as well. Qinsheng tried to break free from the protective wall while Fu Hanquan was maintaining the protective wall. After an hour, Qinsheng finally came out of the protective wall. You're not bad, but you can't trap me, Qinsheng said arrogantly and disappeared from Fu Hanquan's computer screen. Fu Hanquan smiled and sipped the tea in his hand. A good night's sleep. At noon the next day, Qinsheng came to the entrance of Fei Yuan Technology Company. Hong Yuan was standing in front of the company with a dejected face and clenched his fists. The company had been sealed. As it was a private company, the shares of the company were all under Hong Yuan's name. Therefore, he had to repay the debt that his company owed. After the company was auctioned off, he still needed to pay back more than 1,000,000 yuan. He had gone through all the so-called friends and partners in the past. Because of Du Kai Yuan, he probably lost the value of cooperation. No one was willing to lend him money. His wife's death and the collapse of the company had dealt a double blow. Hong Yuan, who was only 35 years old, had his back bent quite a bit. Many white hairs appeared in his thick black hair. Du Kaifeng appeared behind him and sneered. Hong Yuan, Hong Yuan, I never thought that you would have such a day. Du Kaifeng had been jealous of him for a long time. In the same class, Hong Yuan's grades were always the best. He was second, and the teacher's praise was always first. After work, both of them were graduates of Imperial Capital University. Hong Yuan started a gaming company and was doing well. As for him, he failed again and again in starting his own business. He even had to save for food. He did not expect that one day, Hong Yuan would also be down and out. He turned the tables and took 5,000,000 yuan from Fei Yuan Technology. He even gave the results of the 2 newly developed games to Longyu Technology and became a department manager. Longyu Technology was far more powerful than Feiyuan Technology. The 3 best-selling games on the market were all made by Longyu Technology. Hearing Du Kaifeng's voice, Hong Yuan turned around. His eyes were scarlet, as if he was about to eat Du Kaifeng. Du Kaifeng, are you worthy of my trust? It was Du Kaifeng's acting skills that were good. He was also Hong Yuan's brother for 20 years. That was why he was relieved to hand over the company to him. Du Kaifeng Smilet 10 d'infuli. In the business world, business is business. There are no personal relationships. You trusted me too much. Did I force you? Blame me? On yuan su dans les grabets du Kaifeng scolaire. Du Kaifeng, you despicable man. Du Kaifeng was not afraid at all. The corner of his lips was still smiling disdainfully. If you hurt me, you'll have to compensate a large sum of money. Hong Yuan, do you still have money on you now? Hong Yuan suddenly lost his strength. The hand that was holding on to Du Kaifeng's collar slowly loosened. He still had a son. He could not ignore him. He was fine if something happened to him, but his son had just lost his mother. He could not lose his father again. On yuan smilet bitterly. His gaze turned sharp again towards Du Kaifeng. I'll take revenge one day. Hearing that, Du Kaifeng laughed mockingly. Hong Yuan, as long as I'm here, you will never have the chance to turn things around. Hong Yuan clenched his fists tightly. Du Kaifeng took a step forward and lowered his voice. Your 2 games are really good. Hong Yuan was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He stared at Du Kaifeng's departing figure with his scarlet eyes. He felt even more helpless in his heart. How could Du Kaifeng let him turn the tables? Now that he was in debt and owed millions, turning the tables was easier said than done? Hong Yuan squatted on the ground and buried his face deep into his palms. His hands were wet with tears. Hello, Mr. Hong. A piece of tissue was reflected in his eyes. Hong Yuan was stunned. He raised his head and saw an astonishingly beautiful girl standing in front of him. Hong Yuan took it and casually wiped away his tears. He stood up. Is there something you need me for? I can help you with your company. Let's talk. It was a very cold statement, but the girl had an inexplicable ability to convince others. On yuan nodded. Okay. Hong Yuan knew that he couldn't pin his hopes on a young girl, but he had no other choice. He could only desperately grab hold of that life-saving straw. In the coffee shop's cubicle, Qin Sheng pushed the document in her hand in front of Hong Yuan. My name is Qin Sheng. This is the project proposal I prepared. Take a look. This is written by you? Hong Yuan asked. Qin Sheng picked up the coffee, took a sip, and nodded. Hong Yuan's eyes dimmed. He didn't take this proposal seriously at first. A 17 or 18-year-old girl studying in the 3rd year of high school, it was really unbelievable that she could write it. When he saw the words all-intelligent games, Hong Yuan couldn't help but laugh in his heart. It seemed that she was delusional. There were many intelligent games on the market now, but there weren't any that could truly achieve intelligence, let alone all-intelligent games. Out of politeness, Hong Yuan continued to read seriously. After flipping through one page, his gaze paused. He retracted his disdainful attitude and flipped through it seriously. Towards the end, his hands couldn't stop trembling. He was excited. After flipping through the last page, Hong Yuan was so shocked that he couldn't speak. He looked at Qin Sheng with eyes full of shock. Qin Sheng smiled. I have the core technology to develop all-intelligent games. I wonder if Mr. Hong is willing to join my company? Hong Yuan opened his mouth. This proposal was made by you alone. Did you develop the technology yourself? Qin Sheng nodded. Hong Yuan. May I ask, Miss Qin, how old are you? I'm almost 18. Hong Yuan. Are all the young people nowadays so amazing? One had to know that this detailed proposal and the core technology indicated in it were completely unachievable with current technology. There were quite a number of all-intelligent games on the market now, but unfortunately, they were only covered in a layer of skin. The core was after all computer-operated. Hong Yuan closed the proposal and asked, Miss Qin, aren't you afraid that I'll leak this technology? Qin Sheng smiled faintly. If Mr. Hong was such a person, I wouldn't have come to you. Qin Sheng would definitely not find someone with a low character to become an important member of her company. That way, the more talented they were, the greater the damage to the company. Hong Yuan admired Qin Sheng even more. Qin Sheng's IQ and EQ were far above ordinary people. Since she found him, she must have investigated him. He was thinking too much. I wonder what Miss Qin wants me to do? Nibi. I'm preparing to open a gaming company. I need you to help me manage the company and be the manager of the company. Qin Sheng told him her plan. In her previous life, the Qin family had developed into various fields, but there was no such thing as a gaming company. Gaming was a field that earned a lot of money. She wanted to develop quickly and possess the smart technology that she had researched in her previous life. Making a best-selling game was a very good choice. Hong Yuan was about to agree when he thought of something. His eyes quickly dimmed again. Miss Qin, Du Kaifeng won't let me off. If he finds out that I work in your company, he'll make things difficult for you. Hong Yuan clenched his fists and said with difficulty, You'd better find someone else. This was a chance to turn the tables. Hong Yuan was worried that Qin Sheng would be affected, so he pushed it away. He couldn't implicate others. Qin Sheng didn't mind. Don't tell me Du Kaifeng has the ability to cover the sky with one hand? Don't worry, I have a way to deal with it. Hong Yuan's eyes were red. This was the first time since he was in a bad situation that they didn't look down on him. He excitedly promised, Miss Qin, I will definitely manage the company well and make it bigger and stronger. Okay. Qin Sheng's eyes were filled with a smile. I'm not 18 yet. I'll register the company under your name temporarily. You have quite a lot of connections. I'll leave the registration of the company and the recruitment of ordinary employees to you. I'll recruit a few technicians later. I'll transfer the funds to your card in a week's time. She pushed a contract in front of Hong Yuan. Hong Yuan glanced at it briefly and signed his name. Qin Sheng stood up and extended her hand to Hong Yuan. CEO Hong, it's a pleasure to work with you. Boss, it's a pleasure to work with you. Qin Sheng left, and Hong Yuan sat on the chair. He still couldn't believe what had just happened. Once in hell, once in heaven. Fortunately, he had met someone important. Otherwise, he really didn't know what he should do. Hong Yuan's hand was tightly clutching the document in his hand. He suppressed the surging tears and smiled. Even if she was a young girl who was not even 18, and the chances of failure were very high, no matter what the outcome was, he had to take the gamble this time. For the next period of time, Qin Sheng was helping people to strengthen and set up protective systems. Because the customers had a good opinion of her, they recommended her to other people. In just 3 days, there were more than 10 people asking for advice. A total of 7 orders were accepted. Qin Sheng was very busy every day. Other than attending classes, she was playing on the computer. Qin Hai already had a sense of depression toward Qin Sheng. Seeing how Qin Sheng was not doing her job every day, he was even more furious. However, every time he lectured Qin Sheng always looked indifferent. After a long time, Qin Hai became bored and simply ignored her. For her own good, Qin Sheng did not appreciate his kindness. Any human would be impatient. Qin Hai, Lin Shuya, and Qin Churu were laughing at home every day. However, Qin Sheng was like an invisible person, even to the servants. On the surface, they were respectful to Qin Sheng, but secretly, they were mocking her. As expected, she came from the countryside and could not be the young miss of the Qin family. Miss Churu was more like a person from a high-class family. Qin Sheng naturally didn't care about the eyes of these unimportant people. She was very busy making money. Under such a busy situation every day, in just a few days, the money she earned from strengthening and maintaining the defense system, together with the money she earned from Black Emperor, had already reached more than 10 million. Nibi. On the day that the demon stock went public, Qin Sheng went to the stock exchange and quietly waited for the opportunity to buy that stock. The shareholders were extremely regretful. They had spent a lot of effort to get the stock and wanted to make a big profit, but the listed company had a fatal accident. In order to reduce the losses, they had been waiting at the stock exchange early. However, they did not expect the stock to start falling like a precipice. No one wanted to buy it, so they could only sit and watch the stock fall step by step. Compared to the anxiety of the shareholders, Qin Sheng appeared to be very relaxed. She looked at her phone and would occasionally raise her head to look at the stocks. Her long silhouette fell on her eyelashes. She lowered her eyebrows, giving people a feeling of peace and tranquility. The shareholders next to her happened to catch a glimpse of Qin Sheng's appearance, and the anxiety in their hearts faded a lot. Seeing that she was also looking at the same stock, they even despised themselves in their hearts. They were buying the same stock. How could a little girl not panic? Why couldn't they? Besides, it was useless to be anxious. After consoling themselves like this, she surprisingly did not panic and started to play with her phone like a young girl. Around noon, the stock had stopped falling. Qin Sheng sat up straight, clicked the mouse, and bought a large number of shares. To avoid suspicion, she created a virtual account and bought the shares in batches. Her movements were very slow, and the stock would not rise in a short time. Qin Sheng was operating the computer when a man beside her looked over. 2.5 million? Seeing that she had spent 2.5 million to buy nearly 1 million shares, the man's jaw almost fell off. He retracted his shocked jaw and kindly reminded her, "Little sister, this stock is not worth buying now. A few days ago, there was bad news about this company. It may go bankrupt in a few days. Your money will be wasted." Hey, little sister, you. Just as he finished speaking, he saw Qin Sheng spend 2.5 million to buy again. The man clutched his heart. Where did this prodigal daughter come from? This was 5 million. Hearing the man's words, a few more people gathered around. Seeing the stocks above Qin Sheng, they whispered to each other. This girl is too prodigal. Using her family's money to spend, she doesn't understand how hard it is for her family. She might be a young lady from a rich family. She doesn't care about this 5 million. That's true. Those who can afford 5 million yuan are not ordinary people. Many people in the exchange could afford to spend tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of yuan to buy stocks. However, very few people could afford to spend 5 million yuan to buy stocks at once. In this exchange, one could count it on one hand in a day. Wasn't Qin Sheng a spendthrift? She bought a lot of demon stocks of a company that was about to go bankrupt. Qin Sheng had already bought all 10 million into this stock. When she heard everyone's words, she leaned back on her chair, trying to hide her laziness. This stock will rise. Qin Sheng looked at the computer screen and spoke faintly. Little sister, aren't you afraid that your tongue will flash when you say this? You are rich and not afraid of losing, but we are all poor people and can't afford to lose. A woman waved her hand and did not believe Qin Sheng's words at all. This sentence was echoed by many people. They laughed and sat back in their seats. They did not have time to waste with these bored rich people. They were still waiting to sell the stock. Only a fool or someone with money and nowhere to spend would buy this stock. There was only one person. The man from earlier was still behind Qin Sheng. His eyes were sparkling and he looked at Qin Sheng with a somewhat perverted gaze. He rubbed his hands and asked in a low voice, "Little sister, how did you know that this stock would rise?" Qin Sheng was expressionless. Intuition. The man's excited mood was instantly drenched in cold water. It's just intuition, he muttered and sat back in his seat with a very downcast expression. Qin Sheng glanced at the man. She had a good impression of him. She reminded him again, now it has fallen to more than 2 yuan per share. It's almost at the bottom. Since you've lost so much, why don't you give it a try? At this point, Qin Sheng stopped. Whether the man would listen to her or not, it was up to him. When he heard this, the man's eyes lit up. Qin Sheng had given him a shot in the arm. He began to buy shares. He had lost 300,000 shares. His heart trembled and he subconsciously wanted to delete it. When he thought of Qin Sheng's words, his hand stopped. It was only 750,000. At most, he could work for another 5 years to win it back. If he won the bet, he could buy a house, a car, and a wife. Gritting his teeth, the man pressed confirm and lost the transaction password. The interface of the successful transaction instantly appeared on the computer page. This stock could not be sold, but it was bought very quickly. The man stared at the words "successful transaction" and blinked. Suddenly, he leaned against the chair with his hand on his heart. His heart was beating really fast. This was the boldest decision he had ever made in his life. Qin Sheng did not stay in the stock exchange any longer. Seeing that the stock price was slowly recovering, she smiled, put on her backpack, and walked out of the exchange. The man saw the backpack behind Qin Sheng, and a hint of suspicion flashed across his eyes. Judging from her appearance, she was just a student. How could he believe the words of a student? And he even spent $75 to buy this stock again? Niai. Boom. Not long after Qin Sheng left, there was a commotion at the exchange. Everyone stared at the computer in disbelief. A Bigshot actually bought that stock for 100 million yuan. Was everyone crazy? Seeing the Bigshot still buying, they couldn't help but mutter in their hearts. Could this stock rise? Wasn't the bankruptcy of that listed company a certainty? However, they didn't hesitate and quickly sold the few stocks they had. Now was a great opportunity to sell the stocks. There were also people who smelled something was wrong and held on to their stocks tightly, not selling them. There were also people who bought a portion of the stocks again. There were already people who bought in bulk, and the stock price rose to 3 yuan per share. In a luxurious villa. Fu Hanchuan lowered his head to process the documents and signed his name on them. President. His special assistant walked in. Fu Hanchuan took some time to look at Assistant Lin while he was reading the documents. Is everything done? I've already bought more than 40 million shares as you instructed. Assistant Lin wanted to say something but hesitated. In the end, he voiced his doubts. President, isn't Tungfeng about to go bankrupt? Why do you still want to buy? As Fu Hanchuan's assistant, he naturally had a grasp of Tungfeng Group's situation. He was also very clear that their company was about to go bankrupt. The rumors from the outside world were true. Fu Hanchuan threw a contract in front of Assistant Lin. Cooperate with their company and provide them with technical funds. The prerequisite is that we must control 35% of their shares. 35% of the shares was enough for their company to become the largest shareholder of Tungfeng Group. As for the 100 million shares that Assistant Lin had bought, it was naturally for the sake of earning the difference in price. Special Assistant Lin nodded. I'll make the arrangements right away. After taking the contract, he looked at Fu Hanchuan and was secretly amazed. Their CEO was indeed a wily old fox. This round, he could earn a few billion. The #1 investment expert in the financial world was not something an ordinary person could be. In the next 2 days, the stock of Tungfeng Group slowly recovered, but the increase was not big. Qin Sheng continued to buy while buying, and then bought more than 2 million shares. On the 3rd day, Tungfeng Group held a press conference. At the press conference, a manager of HD Group appeared. The reporters had some vague guesses in their hearts, and the shutter of the camera was pressed more frequently. An important department of the HD Group was the investment department. The number of companies that were invested in could be counted on 2 hands a year. There were very few companies that the HD Group took a fancy to. As long as it invested in them, that company's development momentum would definitely be very good. It was a legend. It had sharp eyes and had never made an investment mistake. As long as it invested in it, it would make a huge profit. The chairman behind the scenes of HD Group was even more legendary. Many people guessed that he was an experienced middle-aged man. The fact that the chairman of Tungfeng Group had personally appeared at the press conference this time showed the importance he attached to HD Group. The two signed the contract and shook hands. Happy working together. The manager of HD Group announced to the reporters, "Our company will provide funds and technical talents to Tungfeng Group. We hope that Tungfeng Group can have a good development in the future." Boom! Hearing this, the reporter completely blew up. This was the first time he heard that HD Group would help other companies with technical talents. What kind of charm did this Tungfeng Group have to make HD Group set a precedent? Later, countless rumors about the relationship between the bosses of the two companies spread. Little did they know that Fu Hanchuan only took a fancy to the value of Tungfeng Group's products. An important reason for Tungfeng Group's failure was the lack of technology and talent. If they were given help in this area, they would develop rapidly. Fu Hanchuan was a businessman in the business world, not a philanthropist. He would not do anything that would make him suffer. From the beginning to the end of the press conference, the smile on the chairman of Tungfeng Group had never disappeared. This was HD Group. How could he not be happy that he could invest in a company that was on the verge of bankruptcy? Although he had given them 35% of the shares, compared to HD Group, this 35% was naturally not as important. At the same time, Tungfeng Group's shares rose sharply. They rose for 3 days in a row and increased by 18 times. It was now 45 yuan per share. Qinsheng's capital also rose from more than 10 million to 200 million. She narrowed her eyes and looked at the capital in her account. She counted the zeros on it several times. After a long while, a smile appeared on her lips. In just over a week, she had earned close to 200 million from 300,000. She was already a little rich woman. Qinsheng knew that this stock would not fall at the moment, but there was not much room for it to rise. She clicked on the mouse with her finger and sold all of it. With a huge sum of more than 180 million, Qinsheng was very generous and transferred 50 million to Hong Yuan's account. The moment the funds arrived, Hong Yuan received the bank's information. He saw a series of zeros on it and thought that his eyes were playing tricks on him. He rubbed his eyes and they did not disappear. When Hong Yuan counted for the first time, there were 7 zeros. Hong Yuan counted again, and it was still 7. Another message was sent over. It was from Qinsheng. If the company's funds are not enough, you can ask me for more. Ong Yuan. He originally thought that it was already considered good for a little girl like Qinsheng to be able to take out 3 million. He didn't expect her to take out 50 million from the start. When his company was at its peak, its total assets were only 30 million. A man like him who had worked hard for many years couldn't even be compared to a little girl like her. If Hong Yuan knew that Qinsheng had earned nearly 200 million in just over a week, he would probably be even more devastated. His hands were practically trembling as he poked at his phone screen. After much difficulty, he typed out a few words. No need. It's enough. Ni. Qinsheng sent another message. Okay, you have to pay 1.2 million in advance. You have to repay the money you owe and use the company's money to buy the car. This is the company's benefit for you. Seeing that the repayment period was almost up, Hong Yuan didn't have any friends to borrow money from. He was too embarrassed to ask Qinsheng. The house and car had already been taken away by the bank. He had already made preparations. If it really didn't work out, he would sell the few pieces of jewelry his wife left behind. But he didn't expect Qinsheng to have already considered everything. Hong Yuan's eyes reddened. He was touched. On the other side, Qinsheng had earned a huge sum of money. The same went for the man who had bought stocks from Qinsheng the last time. The capital of over 750,000 yuan had increased by 18 times. Now, it was more than 14 million yuan. Seeing that the stock price was rising slowly, he also sold the stocks. He felt more at ease when he held the money in his hands. In just 3 days, he had earned more than 10 million yuan. This was something that he did not dare to imagine. The man was extremely glad that he had gone crazy and bought this stock with the young girl. That girl was really a god. Of course, there were also many regretful stockholders. Let them have a cheap hand, and they had actually sold it. Now, they had suffered a huge loss and still had to watch the stock go up. If they had not sold it back then. Perhaps it was because Qinsheng's appearance and temperament were unforgettable. Very quickly, a few stockholders thought of Qinsheng. At that time, she said, "This stock will rise." They did not take her seriously. Instead, they thought she was a prodigal. They treated it as a joke and insisted on selling the stock in their hands. Didn't they send the money away? If they did it again, they would definitely buy it with the young girl. However, it was useless to regret it. After that, when those shareholders came to the stock exchange, they would subconsciously look around to see if there was that young girl. They were destined not to find Qinsheng at the stock exchange. After that, Qinsheng would buy and sell stocks on her personal computer. The matter of the capital had been settled, and the preparation of the company was handed over to Hong Yuan. Qinsheng stopped taking orders online. The next thing to do was to recruit talents, but there was no rush. After the weekend, it was Monday, time for school. This time, when Qinsheng came to the school, she could clearly feel the difference in the atmosphere. Many people deliberately avoided her when they passed by. Some students glanced at her from time to time when they were talking, and the person they were discussing was Qinsheng. Qinsheng frowned slightly, but she didn't take it to heart. When she came to the class, the noisy class instantly quieted down. When Qinsheng looked at them, they hurriedly lowered their heads. Qinsheng placed the bag on her back on the table. Huang Xiaoyan's original actions were the same as those of the other students in Class 4. However, she could not hold back her emotions. From time to time, she would look at Qin Sheng, wanting to say something but stopping herself. Qin Sheng was reading a book. Huang Xiaoyan's gaze was too obvious. It was difficult not to notice it. She closed the book. "Tell me, what happened?" Qin Sheng asked. Huang Xiaoyan seemed to have opened her mouth and no longer had any scruples. Sheng, do you know what the school is saying? They're saying that you're a girl from the countryside, wearing branded clothes, and that you're being kept by an old man. There are also people saying that they saw you with their own eyes behaving intimately with an old man and even going into a hotel. Huang Xiaoyan was very angry. Sheng was obviously not this kind of person. Old man, bah. Huang Xiaoyan was worried that Qin Sheng would be affected, so she added, Sheng, I believe in you. With your looks, it's more than enough to find a young master from a wealthy family. Do you really need to find an old man? Huang Xiaoyan's cheeks puffed up as she spoke. Her face already had a layer of baby fat on it. This made her even cuter. Qin Sheng had the intention to tease her. She raised her eyebrows slightly and supported her chin with one hand. Are you saying that I'm being kept by a young master of a wealthy family? No. I'm saying that you're definitely not being kept. I'm just making an analogy. Huang Xiaoyan waved her hands repeatedly. She couldn't let Qin Sheng misunderstand her. Lin Feng knocked Huang Xiaoyan's head from behind and said disdainfully, Huang Xiaoyan, you're so stupid. Just now, Lin Feng still had some misgivings. He did not dare to touch Sister Sheng's bad luck. She could crush him with one hand. The last time his wrist was broken and then reattached, he still remembered it clearly now. Huang Xiaoyan opened her mouth, and he quickly came up to show his loyalty. He tried to impress Qin Sheng. Sister Sheng, I also believe it. I saw the two guys insulting you just now, so I went up and beat them up. Lin Feng was unreasonable, but he was not someone who would randomly beat people up. Wasn't it because the two people's words were too harsh that he could not take it? The class had not started yet, so the other students in Qin Sheng's noisy class were paying attention. In addition, the class was very quiet, so they could hear Huang Xiaoyan and the others' words very clearly. They all expressed their sincerity. Sister Sheng, we all believe in you. Ni. Sister Sheng, you're mighty and domineering. You definitely won't be kept by an old man. Sister Sheng. The people in class 4 simply did not believe that Qin Sheng would be kept. After spending a week with her, they had already become Qin Sheng's die-hard fans. Lin Feng glared at them fiercely. He had expressed his loyalty, so why were they blindly joining in the fun? The people in class 4 subconsciously shrank their heads when they were glared at by Lin Feng. Lin Feng proudly raised his chest. You're just arguing with me. However, not long after, many students surrounded Qin Sheng, asking about her well-being. Lin Feng stared at them, but no one paid attention to him. He pulled a student over and asked, calling him by his nickname. Noob, are you guys itching for a fight? His eyes and voice were filled with a sharp and clear threat. The student whose nickname was Noob was also honest. He told the truth, Brother Feng, isn't Sister Sheng better than you? Now that Sister Sheng is in trouble, we naturally have to go up and comfort her. Lin Feng grabbed a pen and wanted to break it. He was so angry. However, he realized that he did not have much strength and threw the pen on the table again. He glared at Noob angrily. Noob shrunk his head and quickly squeezed into the circle that surrounded Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng looked at the circle of students who were concerned about her, and she could not help but feel warmth in her heart. It was really good to have classmates and friends. In her previous life, Qin Sheng had entered Class 1, but she had not met any students from Class 4. Because of Qin Churu, her reputation in the school was very bad, and no one was willing to be friends with her, let alone for her to enjoy the feeling of being trusted and cared for by her classmates. It was only when the bell rang that everyone returned to their seats. The form teacher, Teacher Lin, entered the class. She glanced at Qin Sheng and said, "Come to my office for a while." After saying that, she walked out of the classroom. The gazes of the students from Class 4 all landed on Qin Sheng. They were very worried. This was an existence that was even more powerful than the disciplined teacher. Lin Feng looked at Qin Sheng's departing back and only gave her a sympathetic look. Sister Sheng, take care. I can't help you. There were very few teachers that Lin Feng was afraid of. Teacher Lin was the only one. As soon as he saw Teacher Lin, he was terrified. Teacher Lin entered the office, closed the door, and poured a glass of water for Qin Sheng. Sit. Right now, Teacher Lin was the only teacher in the office. The teacher in charge of the other 3 classes had gone to inspect the class. Qin Sheng sat on the chair. Her body was very straight, very well behaved. Teacher Lin smiled helplessly. If she did not know that she had hit Lin Feng when she just arrived in class 4, she would have thought that Qin Sheng was a good student. Have you been adapting to school recently? Teacher Lin asked about Qin Sheng's life. Yes. Qin Sheng nodded. Teacher Lin hesitated for a moment before asking, what do you think about what happened today? Teacher Lin believed in Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng was arrogant and had a bottom line. She would definitely not be kept by others. She also knew the inside story. It would not be too bad for her to be placed in class 1 by her family. She was only worried that this incident would affect Qin Sheng. The violence of public opinion was enough to destroy a person. Those who could not bear it would easily commit suicide or suffer from depression. As a form teacher, she had the obligation to not let anything happen to the students in her class. Dochka. Qin Sheng merely smiled and said indifferently, I'm just bored. Their opinions have no effect on me. Teacher Lin heaved a sigh of relief. She smiled. It seemed that she was not wrong. Qin Sheng was very outstanding. Then how do you want to solve it? Let nature take its course. She could already guess who had spread these words. Other than Qin Churu, who else could it be? Qin Churu was a top student and was highly regarded in class 1. She was also used to acting and got along well with others in school. No one would believe that she was spreading rumors. People were born to gossip. Many people had the truth in front of them, but they still insisted on their own views. If they thought that you were kept as a mistress, then you had to be kept as a mistress. They would not admit their mistakes. After a long time, there was no meaning. They would naturally stop. Teacher Lin was choked by Qin Sheng's words. She rubbed the space between her eyebrows. She had a headache. If the person involved was not anxious, why would she be anxious? Although it was difficult to find evidence to prove Qin Sheng's innocence, Qin Sheng's attitude was too indifferent. She felt stifled. Teacher Lin did not want to see Qin Sheng anymore. She waved her hand and said, you can go back. When Qin Sheng left the office, she met the form teacher of class 1, Liang Hua, who was also the English teacher of class 4. Liang Hua hated Qin Sheng to the extreme. As soon as she arrived at school, she heard the students talking about Qin Sheng being taken care of by an old man. She believed these rumors and subconsciously thought that Qin Sheng was this kind of person. The person who arranged Qin Sheng to be in class 1 was probably that old man. Liang Hua did not know that Qin Sheng was a member of the Qin family. Qin Hai cared about his face and did not want others to know that Qin Sheng was his daughter. Hence, he warned the principal and the grade director not to tell others about the relationship between Qin Sheng and the Qin family. Liang Hua was a little disappointed when she saw that Qin Sheng was not affected by the negative rumors. However, she would not let go of the opportunity to mock Qin Sheng. She sneered and said, you are indeed not a good student. You are a woman who studied in a romantic place at such a young age. Liang Hua, you are not worthy of the word teacher. Qin Sheng did not give teacher Liang any face and walked past her to leave. Liang Hua was so angry that her chest heaved up and down vigorously. She walked into the office and transferred her anger onto Teacher Lin. Teacher Lin, you are very young. You don't know what students you can and cannot have. Let's see what kind of student your class will bring in. She is kept by a man and her moral character is corrupted. If this gets out, don't affect the top students of my class 1. Liang Hua was leading class 1, the best class in H City High School. She felt that her status was higher than the other 3 head teachers. She was also bossy to the 3 class teachers. The other 2 class teachers would also suck up to her. Only this Teacher Lin did not take her seriously. Liang Hua would mock Teacher Lin from time to time. She even wanted to kick Teacher Lin out of the school. Unfortunately, Teacher Lin had a big background. The head of the academic affairs office rejected her request. Hearing this, Teacher Lin raised her head from the grading paper. She adjusted her glasses. Teacher Liang, you don't have to worry about the students in my class. In addition, it's best for teacher Liang to learn what it means to be a good teacher. Without actual evidence, a teacher who believes in rumors is not a good teacher. It was very similar to Qin Sheng's words. Liang Hua was almost choked to death. She laughed mockingly. You should tell that to the director. See if he thinks Qin Sheng is innocent. As soon as she said that, Teacher Lin received a call from the grade director. Okay, I'll be there right away. Teacher Lin frowned slightly and nodded. After putting down the phone, she received Liang Hua's mockery. Isn't the director looking for you? You'd better think of an explanation. Teacher Lin tidied up the test papers on the table and went to the grade director's office. Liang Hua glanced at Teacher Lin's desk and saw the math paper at the top. Her eyes trembled violently. Qin Sheng, 150 points. Qin Sheng did not have any evidence to prove her innocence, nor did she have any evidence to prove that she was kept by an old man. However, the rumors in the school were not stopping. Worried that the school's image would be affected, the principal ordered the entire school not to discuss this matter. At the same time, he called Qin Hai and told him about this matter. Qin Hai felt that he had lost all his face. Over the phone, he repeatedly promised, "Don't worry, Qin Sheng has done something wrong. I will definitely teach her a good lesson." Without understanding the whole story, he immediately believed that Qin Sheng was at fault. The principal put down his phone and frowned. Qin Hai's reaction was too abnormal and unlike normal parents. Normal parents would defend their daughter at the first opportunity. However, Qin Hai had already told him that without actual evidence he still believed that it was Qin Sheng's fault. The principal was a little confused. Qin Hai loved Qin Churu too much, but he didn't seem to care about Qin Sheng. The principal also thought that Qin Sheng was innocent. As a member of the Qin family, was there a need to be kept as a mistress? An outsider like him could trust Qin Sheng, but Qin Hai didn't trust his own daughter. The Qin family could only be considered average in the prosperous H city, but they were also rich. The Qin family's wealth could let the Qin family enjoy a good life for several lifetimes. The fact that the Qin family was able to donate a gymnasium to the school for Qin Sheng showed that the Qin family was not short of money. The principal shook his head and quickly figured out the reason. It seemed that Qin Sheng was a pitiful person who was not liked in the Qin family. The rumor of Qin Sheng being kept by an old man would be spread among the students in private. Because they were afraid of being punished, they did not spread it out of the school. She didn't see the school punish Qin Sheng for the whole morning. Liang Hua also didn't have the mood to attend class, so she made mistakes frequently. After class, she called the dean of the academic affairs office to ask about it. The result was that the principal thought that rumors without actual evidence couldn't be taken seriously. Liang Hua was furious. Someone had seen it with their own eyes. How could it be fake? What was so good about Qin Sheng that everyone was defending her? Liang Hua was furious, but Qin Sheng wasn't affected. After a week of studying, she had slowly gotten used to it. In class, she would listen attentively. Only in Liang Laosher's English class, she would sleep on the table every single time. Qin Sheng was disrespectful to Liang Hua, and Liang Hua was furious. However, she gradually ignored it. Qin Sheng didn't listen to the class, and her results weren't good. She was happy to see such an outcome. Other than Liang Hua, the teachers of the other subjects had a good impression of Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng almost got full marks in every small test. She had a good attitude, good grades, and was obedient. The teachers liked this kind of students the most. In the blink of an eye, a morning had passed. Qin Sheng was staying at the school at noon, in the same dormitory as Huang Xiaoyan. The accommodations at the H City High School were very good. There were 2 people in one room. It was not big, but it was enough for 2 people. At noon, Huang Xiaoyan dragged Qin Sheng to lunch. In the cafeteria on the 2nd floor, Qin Sheng and Huang Xiaoyan were queuing up for lunch. Qin Churu walked over. There were a few female students around her. They were chatting and laughing. Zhao Jia saw Qin Sheng. She lowered her voice and said to Qin Churu, "Churu, that Qin Sheng is kept by an old man. At such a young age, she has already learned how to become a mistress. A few days ago, someone said that she was prettier than you. I think that Qin Sheng is not even worthy to carry your shoes." Qin Churu was good-looking, talented, and the daughter of a rich family. She was secretly rated as the school belle by those students. However, after Qin Sheng came to the school, many people compared Qin Sheng's and Qin Churu's looks. Without comparison, there was no harm. Qin Churu, who they thought was very good-looking, was nothing in front of Qin Sheng. She was very ordinary. Some people even called for a vote. Everyone was a fan of looks, and they were also anonymous. Many people voted for Qin Sheng to be the school belle. Qin Sheng's vote number was even higher than Qin Churu's. This morning, rumors spread that Qin Sheng was behind Qin Churu. Qin Churu was also very concerned about Qin Sheng. The moment she came in, she saw Qin Sheng standing in line. She also saw the gazes of the boys landing on Qin Sheng from time to time. Qin Churu was jealous of Qin Sheng in her heart. Dochka. Even she had to admit that Qin Sheng was very beautiful. She was the kind of person who couldn't be forgotten at first glance, and she was very pleasing to the eye. When she heard Zhao Jia's words, she smiled gently. Don't say that. She is very beautiful. After a pause, she said, it's just a pity to be kept by an old man. When Qin Churu said this, she secretly clenched her fists. Since she was the one who said it, she naturally knew whether it was true or not. The old man was fake, but Qin Sheng had a very good relationship with that handsome man who had a temperament like the wind and the moon. It was so good that she was jealous. When she went back to check, she did not find him. Instead, she found the car he was in. It was worth hundreds of millions. It was a full-body brand, and his watch and car were all top-notch brands. Naturally, his family background was very good, and he was also handsome. This kind of man would make any woman fall in love with him. He was very much in line with Qin Churu's future husband's standards. Unfortunately, he had a good relationship with Qin Sheng, so he didn't hesitate to ridicule her for Qin Sheng. Qin Churu held back her anger. When she came to school, she secretly let the third-year high school students spread the news that Qin Sheng was not only from the countryside, but was also kept by an old man. There were fewer third-year high school students. In just a short 20 minutes, almost all the students who had come to school had heard the rumor. Churu, you're so kind. You're so beautiful and kind. Zhao Jia sighed. Let's go and line up. Qin Churu smiled. Huang Xiaoyan was talking, and Qin Sheng was listening. Before they knew it, it was time for them to order. Huang Xiaoyan stared at the dishes. Her eyes couldn't move. She stared straight at the plates of dishes. The food in H City High School was very good. The chefs hired were all 5-star chefs, and the dishes were rich. Huang Xiaoyan was a foodie. Every time she ordered 3 dishes, they were all meat. While Qin Sheng was preparing the dishes, Huang Xiaoyan stood at the back. Her eyes kept darting around the dishes, and soon, she was thinking about which dishes to order. When it was her turn, she pointed at them one by one. Auntie, this, and this.